So today's topic is about RTM. As I said, RTM stands for requirements traceability. Okay, requirement traceability matrix. So matrix is nothing but a tabular format. Okay, so first let's see before looking into RTM, first we look into three types of documents or templates. Okay, the first one is use case template. Use case template consists of use case ID, use case name, and you can put use case description also. Okay, or else no need. Uh, Here I'm writing down requirement template. The requirement template consists of requirement ID or number, requirement name, a requirement description, uh, priority. Okay, priority of the requirement, and the third one is test case template. Test case template consists of TC, that is test case ID, test case name, test case description, and actual result, expected result, test, pass or fail. Okay, so like this we have three templates here. So let's see here. Use case ID, let's say 1. Use case name is, as we discussed, leave management system, LMS, or else you can take any example. Let's take an example of Gmail. Okay, so let's assume we are designing a Gmail application now. For that, you know use case document, right? Use case document consists of use case ID, number, name, use case description. We already talked about leave management system use case. Okay, now here is a use case, that is Gmail. That means you consider this as a project. Okay, and to design this Gmail, let's say around 200 requirements. Just assume. Okay, let's assume 200 requirements like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, like this, up to 200 requirements. Let's see, let's come up with one requirement here, that is requirement ID is 1.1. Requirement name is create registration page, okay, for Gmail. So describe it. So requirement name is create registration page. You know registration page, right? Gmail. Before logging into Gmail, you should have an email, correct? You should have an email ID and password. So from where you will get this email ID and password? You will get it from, once you register, okay, you can use those, you can use this email ID and password and you can log in. Now for that, I'm just writing down here C means create. Okay, now then description, right? Create registration page consists of first name, okay, last name, email, okay, etc. Am I right? So you just look into Gmail registration, you will find first name, last name, middle name, and email ID, password. So you have to describe about it. So registration page consists of so and so requirements, and each requirement will, so and so requirement will do so and so, okay, activities. Now priorities, it's a must requirement. Okay, top priority. Now for this requirement, I am writing a test case as a business analyst. So you may ask me a question, why test case? Why business analyst? Design a test case template. Yes. First, let's see what is test case template. Then you will understand why we have to design this and what is this. Okay, let's see what is test case. Test case will have an ID like 1.1.1. Test case name is test registration page. Okay, then test first name, last name, email. So what we are writing in requirement, what we had written in requirement template, we wrote here create registration page, create first name, last name and email and all the fields. And here you are writing test registration page, test first name, last name, email, password, etc. So whatever the requirement you write here in a requirement template, for every requirement you have to write a test case for all the functional requirements. Okay, you have to write a test case. Who have to write this test case? Business analyst. Why business analyst should draw? Because business analyst is the one who knows the actual result, correct? So client will tell to BA that once you create this page, okay, and once you test it, the answer should be it should open Gmail. Okay, that is expected result. Expected result is Gmail. But unfortunately, when tester tested this, they opened YouTube. You got my point. When technical people designed a requirement, uh, and once you log in, that should take you to Gmail page. But what happened, it opened YouTube. That means expected result and actual result both are not same. When both are not same, what happens? There is an error, correct? It's fail. Test failed. If both are same, actual result and expected result, then the test will be passed. So in this way, testers will look into the requirement template and do the testing. Testers will look into test case template. Who prepares this? Business analyst. Why? Because business analyst is the one who knows the answer, who knows the output. Now what testers will do? They will test it and they will see whether the expected result and the actual result both are same or not. If not same, it's fail. Got it? This is known as test case template. This is known as requirement template. This is known as use case template. Now, why we are talking about all these templates? Our subject is requirement traceability matrix, correct? So I'll tell you. Let's see the second one. For the same requirement, just concentrate what I'm saying. For the same requirement, okay, so when tester tested it, it should open Gmail, not YouTube. Okay, fine. Now I'm writing one more test case for the same requirement, that is 1.2.1, or else I can write 1.1.2. Okay, for the same requirement. I'm not writing for this another requirement. For the same requirement, let's say test registration page same, and test uh, first name, last name and email. And here I'm adding one more option, that is input specification. Input specification. Okay, that means, see, you are telling testers to test it. That's fantastic. I mean, you are telling to testers to test this application. That's fine. But how they will test? I mean, what data they have to insert into it? Correct? There will be some condition, right? So now let's see what I'm trying to say here is the email should accept, listen carefully, email should accept only numeric data, sorry, only character data. Okay, and password should accept only numeric data. Got it? I'm writing here, what I'm trying to say is, see, this is the registration page, right? When you're registering, of course, when you look into real world scenario, when you are registering into Gmail or anything like Facebook or anything, so if you give some name, if you give some name and number and some special characters, it will say that it allows only uh, character data and numeric data. It will not allow, it will not allow special characters like question marks, dots, okay, apostrophes, and all these things. Am I right? Yes or no? So now, what I'm trying to say is, they will test in this case also, like, so tester will test by entering different data here. Okay, like let's say first they will test by entering character and numeric data, and they will see that whether it is logging or not. Okay, yes, let's assume now it is logging, that means it's pass. Second one, what they are doing, this for the same requirement, they are entering character plus special characters, or else I can say they entered like at the rate, question mark and symbol, okay, at the rate gmail.com, and password is something like dollar 12 SR. So now you tell me, so this should accept or not? It should not accept, right? Because the requirement strictly says that it should not allow any special characters. Okay, but here what we have done, we entered some special characters in the email ID and password. So it should provide an error. It should not give the, it should be fail, because the actual result should be, it should allow only write data. Okay, but what happened, the expected result should be, it should allow write data, but actual result, what happened, you entered wrong data. So now when you entered wrong data, that should give an error. If it is not giving error, means there is some bug. You got my point? So in this way, for every requirement there can be many test cases. Got it? Sometimes there can be one, sometimes there can be 10, and sometimes there can be 20, 30 also. I mean, for one requirement there can be many test cases. Now let's see. Here I'm writing next one, 1.2 and 1.3, different requirements. Okay, now for these requirements, how many test cases we have? 1.1.3. Let's assume 3 test cases. Okay, are you following me what I'm saying? So let's say 200 requirements. For 200 requirements there can be almost 400 test cases, because different ways you are testing it, different type of data you are entering, and you are testing for one requirement. Correct? Yes or no? So like this, now it will be a bit confusion here. I mean, what happens when you give these 3 templates to testers? Now tester want to know this 1.1.3. I mean, I'm talking about tester, not BA who designed this test case template. Okay, when tester look into this is a separate document, right? Test case is a separate document. Now tester want to know this 1.1.3 belongs to which requirement. How how they will come to know? Because this is different template, this is different template. So now this tester have to open 2 templates side by side and check each and every requirement, and check each and every test case. I mean, as per the test case requirements, it is very hard to do all these things. So for that, what we are doing here is, we are putting all them under one roof. Like, I will tell you, we call it as RTM, requirement tracing. We are tracing and putting under one roof, that is matrix. Now let's see, use case ID, use case name, requirement ID, requirement name, test case ID, test case name. It's pretty simple. You put all these under one roof. Like, one name is Gmail, requirement ID is 1.1, requirement name is create registration page, and the test case ID is 1.1.1. Test case name is test registration page by entering different data. So for 1.1 we have 1.1.2, 1.1.3. Like this you can say 1.1.9 also. Okay, I mean different test cases. Like first you enter with numeric data, character data. Second you, because security reasons, right? See, when you're doing testing means there shouldn't be any errors when it comes to, I mean, when client starts working on it, there shouldn't be any errors. They should not find any bugs. That is what we do testing. Okay, so like this, now it is easy or not? Like in one shot you can understand, okay, this 1.1.9 requirement belongs to 1.1, like this, and the second requirement starts here 1.2. Okay, 1.3, like this. Second, third, fourth requirements, it depends. It doesn't happen all the time for not all the requirements. However, for such type of, you know, registration pages or login pages where you have a login process, something like that, then only we'll have a lot of, okay, basically test cases. You can, and just it's an example, there can be any other scenarios, but this is an example. So is it clear or you have any doubts? We are tracing them, that's it, nothing. We are tracing and putting them under one roof. That is known as requirement traceability matrix. Any doubts? Okay, fine. So now what we learned here, we talked about test case template and also we talked about requirement traceability matrix. Now let's look into testing. Just a second. It's here. Yeah, let it open. So coming to testing, so this material is purely designed for testers, okay, not for business analysts. This is purely designed for testers. So we don't discuss all of the points in this. I mean, we discuss like up to what extent business analyst should know. Okay, I mean, in which area business analyst should know in detail, and in which area business analyst should have some idea. Okay, so that is what testing here is. I mean, let's see what are the important points we have to learn from this presentation. As I told you, this is designed for testing people, not for BS, but you know, some points we will take it from there, from this presentation. Now let's start here. Testing is a process of exercising or evaluating a system or system component by manual or automated means to verify that it satisfies specified requirements. So testing you can do either manually or automation. Whatever it is, you have to identify a bug. Okay, you have to identify and you have to rectify. That is what the main concept of testing is. So testing can be done on anything, a system application or any application. Okay, and what is this IEEE 83A, IEEE 83A? This is some international engineering standards. Okay, so as per those standards the testing will be done. If you search in Google you will get so many. IEE 82, 83, 88, like this, you'll find a lot of many things. Okay, though I mean those say some standards. Okay, now testing is a process of executing a program with the intent of finding an error. Okay, so why tester will do testing? Tester intention is to find out some bug, right? At least one bug. That is where we call a tester as a perfect. Okay, a perfect tester. So testing is a process of executing a program with the intent of finding as error. Software testing is a critical element of software quality assurance and represents the ultimate review of system specification, design, and coding. Yes. So basically, when you say software, you have to see whether the design or coding or documentation, everything should go fine. Correct. So how do you will come to know that these all things went fine? With testing only, you will come to know. Okay. At the end of the day, if there is no testing, there is no quality analysis, it is very difficult for you to know that we have a couple of issues or whatever it is. Testing is the last chance to uncover the errors, defects in the software and facilitates delivery of quality system. Yes, because this is the last chance. So after testing, what happens? It goes to client location and client will start working on it. And once client identify bugs, it depends on the bugs. It depends on the critical bugs, whatever it is. Okay, some minor bugs they can consider, but the most important bugs, if it is difficult, if you are not implementing, then client will sue you. That's it, because you have to test it, you have to design it properly. So testing is a last chance to uncover the errors, defects in the software and facilitates delivery of quality system. Software testing, role of testing. Primary role of testing: determine whether system meets specifications, determine whether system meets needs. Secondary role of testing: instill confidence, provide insight into software development process, continuously improve the testing process. I'll tell you what are all these things now. What they mean to say by all these things. Let's say why test: developer not fallible, bugs in compilers, languages, databases, operating systems, certain bugs easier to find in testing, don't want customers to find bugs. Post-release debugging is expensive, good test designing is challenging and rewarding. So what I'm trying to say here is, as a BA, okay, at first you have to gather requirements properly. I mean 100% requirements you have to gather. Okay, if client is not in a mood, not in a situation to tell the requirements, you have to use some techniques and methods, like we have Zachman method or whatever it is. Okay, so we use techniques and methods to pull the data, okay, to pull the requirements from the client's brain. Okay, so whatever it is, as a BA you have to investigate, you have to interview the client, and you have to gather the requirements. Then you have to see that 100% you are putting these requirements in a document, and once the document is done, you have to send it to client will accept it, they will do cross verification, that's fine. Now they will give it to designers, and designers should feel that see that designers should design the application as per the requirements without missing any requirement. I mean, without missing any requirement, they have to design. And developers, without missing any requirement, they have to write code. Got it? So what I'm trying to say is every part is very important. For suppose business analyst missed a requirement, then we can't do anything. Or for suppose if client is not in a position or client has forgot some requirements, then we are nowhere responsible, right? Correct? But it should not happen basically. So that's what they are saying. So if you come like this, step by step process by putting all the requirements testing, so you don't find much bugs. But what I'm trying to say here is, even even you will find some bugs. For example, like Bugs can be in compilers, languages, databases, operating systems. Let's say you designed a Microsoft Office today. That was fantastic, project we had done. But when you're trying to install in Mac version, we were unable to install. So let's say that Mac is not supported to Windows. That means Mac is not supported to MS Office. That means what? So it's a failure only, correct? I'm just giving an example. I'm not saying that Microsoft Office is failure. So that is basically designed for Windows operating systems. I know that. Just I'm giving an example. So before only you should see. So whether my Microsoft Office can be installed on Mac system or Windows system or Linux or Unix like this. So can these people can use this my application? According to that, they have to design. Okay, right. Uh, so secondary role of testing, instill confidence. Instill means so how a developer designer will how if you go and ask a developer or a designer that hey, have you done a right job, they say that yes, we did as per our best. But if you ask them, can you give me guarantee? No, there is no guarantee. See, a 15 years experience or a 10 20 years experience developer will be there. If you ask that fellow, "Oh, is there any guarantee that your project runs perfectly?" Means no. Why? Because as per the requirements these people design, that's it. So later on, what client is doing, we have no idea. Correct? Are you following me? What I'm saying? So once you design the software, if you are installing in any operating system or any other software, so we can't say, right? So that can be supported or not. So that is the reason testing should be done. If it is not supporting, if anything is gone wrong, again testers will look into that and they will try to fix the bug or they will modify it. Now let's see. Certain bugs easier to find in testing. Don't want customers to find bugs. Obviously, you should not give a chance to client to find a bug. Post release debugging is expensive, of course. So once you release the application into client's server, and now if you are trying to do all the changes, it is very difficult. We can't do it. Good test designing is challenging and rewarding, of course. Next, testers maturity. Phase O. No difference between testing and debugging. Test only to support debug. Okay. What is this? How a tester should think. How a tester. Okay. Uh, their maturity levels. I mean, what they think about testing. So actually, we don't need to know all these things. Let me tell you why we are discussing about all these things, because when you're going into an organization as a business analyst, by putting some 6 years or 7 years of experience or 8 years of experience, when you're showing, you should know these are the minimum things. Who is a tester? What happens in testing? Okay, so what are the different types of testings we have? Like this is very common things you should know. It is very easy also. If you read this slide for couple of times, you will easily understand. So let's look into testers maturity. I mean, because as a BA you will be communicating with testers, right? So you should know what that fellow is uh, saying and what that fellow is thinking about it. So we can analyze. We should analyze, whether this fellow can do the work or not. Like this, you have to analyze. So now phase O, no difference between testing and debugging. Test only to support debugging. Okay, that's a fantastic line, I can say. Why you are testing? To identify a bug and fix the bug. Phase 1, purpose is to show that the software works. Yes. Phase 2 is purpose is to show that the software does not work. That's it. Straightforward questions, straightforward answers. Why you are doing testing? Either you have to show it is working or not. That's it. Okay. Now phase 3, purpose is not to prove anything, but to reduce precise risk of not working to an acceptable value. Yes. So it is not like you are not trying to blame developers or designers. Okay. So what you have to do is your job is to see whether the application is working or not. That's it. Phase O, testing is a mental discipline resulting in low risk software without much effect. Okay, so what they are saying is, so without doing testing, can we come over? I mean, without doing testing, can we design? Means, let's say the testing a state of mind. The goal is testability, reduce the labor of testing. Testable code as less bugs. Okay, let's see about that later. Again, coming here, is testing everything? No. So we no need to know about all these things. Okay, take it easy. And this also testers. Decomposability, simplicity, stability. These are all for testers. And coming to test case template, test case uh, template, what we discussed today. You remember? Okay. So we'll discuss about that. And now look into this model. It's a V-shaped model. In the left side, you have software development team, like requirement gathering, designing, development. In the right side, you have different types of testings, like as I told you, right? Simultaneously, the testing should happen. Now, coming to important point, is testing possible? Is complete testing possible? So, can you give me guarantee that whatever the product you are selling, that will work fine? Is there any guarantee? To prove that a program is free of bug is practical impossible and theoretical a mammoth exercise. Yes. Suppose you go to a Apple store and you buy iPhone 6 model, and you ask that executive, or a salesman, so is there any guarantee that this phone works fine? So who can give guarantee, right? There is no guarantee, but they simply say that, yeah, of course, we have 1 year warranty, correct? We have 2 years warranty. If you have any issues, you can come down within this time, we'll do it for free. That means what? Why we need support center and all these things if you are perfect? That means no one is perfect, no application is perfect. I mean, we don't know, because when we use it in a real world case, then only we'll come to know. For example, you brought a new cell phone today, iPhone, and you are trying to install some applications, you are unable to do it. So that is not in our hand, right? I mean, that is not iPhone fault, correct? iPhone people designed as per the requirements and as per the software upgrades, but it is not like all applications should run here. Am I right? So that is what they are saying. Practically impossible and theoretical a mammoth exercise. Next, barriers. We can never be sure of the verification system has been implemented without any bug. Yes, no verification system can confirm some bugs. So we can't, because as I told you, right, how you use it later, that depends on that completely. We aim at not absolute proof but a suitable convincing demonstration. Quantitative measures, statistical measure of software reliability, judgment of enough. Yeah. So we cannot give any proof, but a suitable demonstrations, like these are your requirements, as per requirements you design, that's it. Quantitative measures means weightage, okay, and judgment of enough. Now let's look into these things. Like, testing is divided into two parts: manual testing and automation testing. As you know, I already explained this when we talk about SDLC life cycle, correct? So manual means how a user interact with the machine. I mean, how user directly interact with the machine and test it. That is manual testing. Automation testing means they implement some softwares. So those softwares are installed in that particular project or program what you design. So they automatically identify, but they are pretty costly at that. Next. So this all we don't bother about all these things, because this is all for testers. Okay, quality assurance testing, STLC, software testing lifecycle, manual testing. Your manual testing, to do this manual testing, what you want, of course, right? So tester should know what exactly is the project. Manual testing process, various documents used during actual testing, BRD, different types of requirements, documents, use cases, test plans, test cases, test scripts. Okay. Why do we do manual testing when tools are available? So like this, some questions like, because why do we do means why? This is cheaper when you compare with automation tools, but it takes more time. That's it. And coming to automation tools, fast. They are pretty fast than human testers. Tools runs the test significantly faster than human users. Reliable. Tests perform precisely the same operations each time they are run, thereby eliminating human error. Okay. Repeatable. Okay, you can do all these things. I mean, by automation testing, you can do all these things. Repeatable, programmable. You can see you can program sophisticated tests that bring out hidden information from the application. Like, let's say there is 1,000 lines of programming code, so it is very difficult for we for testers also to identify where is that. So at the time, so automation testing we can use. Okay, so automatically the bug will be identified. Comprehensive, you can build a suite of tests that cover every feature in your application. Reusable, you can reuse tests on different versions of an application even if the user interface changes. Okay, so like this, there are different things we can say. And test place, basically we don't involve in test plan. Test plan is done by testing manager or a test lead, as like project manager will do project planning, right? In the same way test manager will do testing plan. Okay, leave it, no need to worry about it, because we are nowhere concerned with test plans and all these things. Let here whomever it is, a test planner or whomever it is, we don't care. So here we have types of testings. We have unit testing, integration testing, system testing, around 21 testings. So these 21 testings we will discuss tomorrow, because I know people are feeling bored because a lot of theory is here. Uh, Unit testing to white box system, everything we'll discuss along with proper examples, and then we'll look into uh, bug track. Okay, so bug life cycle, and then UAT, user acceptance testing. We'll do it tomorrow. Fine. Do you have any doubts in today's session?